in today's lesson, we'll be looking at HTML styling, how to add color to fonts, and more with style attributes. So you will learn how your HTML elements uses styling attributes, okay, which will include colors, fonts, spacing, and all other aspects of HTML attributes. While it's a basic approach, inline styling gives you an immediate visual control over your content. So this is not an advanced CSS styling, it's just an aspect of HTML styling, which is an inline styling. In our future videos, we are going to be looking more into HTML styling and how to do proper styling for our website. What's the style attribute? The style attributes let you apply inline CSS directly to an HTML element, which controls how elements look on the page, such as the color, the size, and alignment. As you can see in the example given below, so we have, if you remember in our HTML attributes class, we talked about HTML tag name, the value, okay, and here we have the tag name to be style, which is the HTML attribute, and the P tag, which is the attribute that has the attribute style, and the color as the color and the blue as the value. But in this case, when it comes to styling, we have an inline styling. For here we can see an inline styling of the P tag that has the HTML style attribute, and in this HTML style attribute we have this to be the property, and we have the blue to be the value. So whenever you are styling any HTML element, you will always have this as the property and this as the value. So the property could be any other CSS style attributes or style property, and the value also could be any CSS style property. So here we have the content, and this forms a complete HTML element. So in our demo, we are going to see how this takes effect. We also have changing text color. Okay, we use the color property to change the text of a particular element. So here we have the color to be what? Red. Okay, so we are styling this particular element to take effect of red color. So by the time we check on our browser, we see that this text is red, will be what we have here, as this HTML attribute, styling attribute, has changed the appearance of this particular content. Likewise, we have changing the background color, okay, using the background property, styling property. So the background color property changes the background of an element. It's as simple as that. So for instance, if you have a container that has an attribute style with background color value with its property to be light blue, okay, we see that at the end of the day, the background of this particular container is going to be blue, okay, light blue rather, which is the value given to it. Changing the font size. So we could also change the font size of our HTML elements. So we use the font size to increase or decrease the text size. So here we see that we have the H1 tag, and here we have the styling attributes, and the property in this styling attribute is font size, and we use the value to 36 pixels to increase the size of the font, and we have the content within it. So by the time we check this, we see that this font will be increased to 36 pixels, and we can also decrease it to any number below 36 pixels. And remember that pixels is a unit we use in styling. Okay, we use it to control either the increasing or decreasing of the style size of an element size. So we use this in HTML styling and any other type of styling we need to use as a unit. There are other units that we are still going to be talking about in the future, like the rem, the EM, and so many other. The next here is alignment of text. So we have the text align. So the text align property controls the horizontal alignment text, which could be left, center, or right. So we use this to center elements. You see that when in websites, you will see that elements are positioned in different ways. Okay, they could be positioned to the right, to the left, or to the center. So we use this text alignment to align text on our web page. Next is changing the font family. We have different font family. We have styled font family, and we could also create our own font family by using Google Font. But in this case, we are using the font family property to change the typeface used for our text. So in this paragraph tag or element, we will use the font family Vendena to change the font size or the font family of this particular text. We could also use other font families like Times New Roman and Poppins and so many others that we have the leverage to use when it comes to changing the font family of a particular element. So in our demo, we are going to see how all this takes effect. So I would just want you to stay tuned and see how I'm going to show you the practical implementation of all this CSS HTML styling attributes that we've talked about. Now I'm on my desktop. I'm sure by now you should be able to know how to open the VS Code. So without any further delay, let's dive into what we have to do for today's lesson. So here I'm going to write a comment as usual. Let's write a comment, say HTML styling. Okay, so let's start by styling a single element. Okay, let's start this big tag, the paragraph tag. So now we are going to be styling this particular element, the p tag. So let's say, should we just change the style of the texts? Okay, so let's say style, we start by writing style. Okay, and we set equals, then open bracket, quote, then we put the property, let's say texts, or we say color, let's say color, since we want to change the color of the text, and we say red. Okay, now we write a text here and we say the text color is red. It's as simple as that. So if we check this on our browser, you will see that the color of this text will be red. Let's check that. So just right click on your VS Code and open with live server. So this should open the live server for us to see what has taken effect with respect to this styling attribute we have used there. Just wait a moment. Now, as you can see, we have the text to be text color red. Okay, I think I'm going to comment out all this so that we can see properly what we have beneath. So let me comment all this out so that we can see what we have. Okay, just a second. Ctrl Z, and let me just take it off. I'm sure by now we have this code base. I'm going to reverse it later. So, but just for us to have a working space to see all we are doing. So out, so you can see when it refreshes. Now we can see here that we have the text to be red. Okay, and we could also have the background of the text to be what? To be something, another color. So let's say using the property called background color, always use a semicolon. Okay, so now let me explain something. We have the styling attributes. So for the styling attributes, they are like key value pairs, a pair of property and value. We have a pair of property and value. So the property is the color, while the value is this red here. So you could have multiple properties on a single style attribute. Okay, for you to be able to do that, you need to use a semicolon, which is this one you are seeing here. So with the semicolon, you are able to have multiple property. So in this case, for this particular key element, we can have another styling property. So let's say background color rather. So let's say the background color is blue or something like that. Blue. I hope my spelling of blue is correct. So we should see that the background here now is blue. Okay, we could use another property to style to have the background to be blue. So the background of this particular key element or key tag is blue. So that's for the text. Now we could also have a container. Here I've already have this set up to be a container. Let me Ctrl Z. We have this container to be an HTML type of element as well. So we could HTML tag, because in this case there are no attributes, there are no content between it, and there are no attributes. So we wouldn't be able to call it a full HTML element. Now it's a tag. So we could also have it to be styled to in any way. So for instance, let's say we want to have a content in this particular container called the div, which is for short, which is in full division, and we could have a content say this container. Okay, and in this container we want to style this particular container, because now you wouldn't see it as a container because there are no effects, there are no styling effect on it, so we wouldn't see it as a container. But by the time we start styling it, you will see the effect. So let's say we want to use the inline CSS styling with the styling attribute called style, as we've done earlier. So let's say we want to set the width of the particular container to let's say 100%. Okay, percentage is also another attribute and another CSS unit that we use, okay, to increase the size of a particular element. Now we can see the effect of this particular value that we've used until we give it a background color, and which is one of the best practice to adopt while styling. For you to be able to see the effect of your style, you should use colors, so that way you're able to see what you're doing. So now let's go by seeing the background color of this particular element is what can we use? Let's say gray is the closest to me now that I can see. So now we have it to be gray, and we have the full length to be 100%. We could also reduce it. Let's reduce it to maybe 50%. And now we've reduced it to 50%. Likewise, we could also change the text within the container to be orange. Now we've changed it to orange, and here we want to add like another element within that particular container, and we're going to style it as well. So we have the p paragraph tag to be within the div container. With that, we are able to have a simple like a sub element within that particular container. So we now have the p tag having the same style. Remember that we already styled the color, okay, to be orange. So that's why you could see here that the P element as well within the div is also having the same color. So now it's like a general color that we've set for the container within the element. And that's why we have both the container contents to be orange, and the P element as well to be orange. So, and that's where we stop for today. In our next class, we are still going to be talking more about HTML styling and the attribute properties and what have you. So, and we have a challenge for you, so that at the end of this video you should be able to open your laptop and do this. The purpose of this challenge is just for you to get yourself engaged. It is not enough for you to just watch the video and at the end of the day you are unable to do what we've talked about. So you have this challenge to create an about us page, okay, and use the sections. Use different sections. Depends on you how many sections you want to have. Although we've not talked about HTML semantics, but in this case you just create an HTML index.html, then you style that page, okay, using the following. So you set the background of that particular page to light gray, okay. Make sure that your name, well, it depends on what you want to put on the page, appear in blue and a large font alignment, okay, and center the particular text. So using different font families depending on you. So try doing this without copying directly from the lesson. So this will test your understanding of what we've talked about. If you are not clear about a particular aspect, you could rewind the video to see how I did, or the practical of this particular lesson. Okay, so stay tuned while we talk more about, or in our next class, we'll be looking more into how to do advanced styling and other interesting things in HTML. Thank you and see you in the next class. Always remember, one step at a time.